والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Welcome everybody from around the world. My name is BILAL ABDUL KAREEM, and this is the BAK show. Now we're going to be discussing things which are of import to you and to the Muslim Ummah. Of course, I am your host, BILAL ABDUL KAREEM, and we're going to be discussing today Donald Trump's new visit to the Middle East. It's his first major foreign trip and his second tour as the president. We're going to get started. But first, before I get started, I need to set the tone just a little bit. I need to do what? Set the tone just a little bit. I know you've seen the images, but I need you to see them again. This is Gaza. I want to make sure that my computer's over here, and I want to make sure everything's where it needs to be. I want you to take a look at this. This is a young man in Gaza, obviously his life destroyed by U.S. bombs, which were given to Israel, donated to Israel, paid for by the U.S. administration. That includes Donald Trump. All right, let's take a look at this. This is another image of Gaza, destroyed by Israeli Defense Forces, paid for by who? The United States of America. And supplied by who? Donald Trump. Let's take a look at the next one. This is another young man from Gaza. As you can see, he's missing his limbs. This is the backdrop which I want you to keep in mind for the next couple of minutes while we're discussing a few things. Okay, take that, put it on the side for a second. Donald Trump is in the Middle East. He's in Saudi Arabia, and he went and spoke at a U.S.-Saudi investment forum, and he had something very good to say about Syria. Or did he? Let's take a look and see what he said.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
As you can see, everybody is clapping. Everybody seems to be happy. He's going to end the sanctions that began during the Assad area. He's going to lift the sanctions on Syria. You see Elon Musk, he's there. Okay, sounds good, doesn't it? But at what cost? That's the real issue that we have to discuss here today, brothers and sisters. I am not saying that the lifting of sanctions is a bad thing. I'm saying that that's a good thing. But it's just like buying a new car. If you buy an old Mazda, an old green Mazda with a brown door, and you bring it home, and your wife says, okay, well, we got a car now. How much did you pay? He says, oh, but look, see, the seats go all the way back. And she's like, okay, that's fine. How much did you pay for it? Car probably costs about $1,000 or $500. He then, after some prodding, says, I paid $25,000 for it. It wasn't worth it. I'm asking, what was the cost of lifting these sanctions? Anyone who knows Donald J. Trump knows there's nothing for free. Now, Ahmed al-Shara, also known as Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani, was in Saudi Arabia, and when Trump was asked earlier in the day if he would meet with the new Syrian president, he said, yes, I think I will. And then hours later, this is what we have. So obviously, there have been some movements and things of this nature. But the question is, what did it cost? Now, there have been a lot of rumors which have been floating around that don't sound good, but we'll have to take a look and see. One of those rumors was that U.S. Special Forces would be able to operate inside of Syrian territory. That was one of the conditions of Donald Trump. I cannot verify that, but that was one that was widely reported. Now, the danger in that is that U.S. Special Forces and Israeli forces are one and the same. They're not two. I'm going to say that again. They are one and the same. They are not two entities. So letting U.S. special forces into Syria is tantamount of allowing Israeli forces into Syria. At the end of the day, those images which you saw were not able to be, were not able to exist, except that the U.S. administration, started by Biden and continued by Donald Trump, funded, bankrolled, and protected them politically so that they could carry out the genocide which is taking place in the Gaza Strip, and also the ethnic cleansing which is taking place in the West Bank. Now, another of the rumors which were on the table also was that no muhajirin were to be into any leadership positions. Well, I can't verify the authenticity of this demand, but it was widely reported. But being that we have no information, we can only speculate, because no, brothers and sisters, that didn't happen for free. Full stop. It didn't happen for free, and I am concerned about the cost. Now, some people sit there and say, come on, Bilal, you've got Saudi Arabia, they're there, and they're protecting the brothers, and so on and so forth. Now, the Saudis, they know full well what's been going on inside of Gaza. I just have my computer over here, and I'm taking a peek at it. They know full well what's going on inside of Gaza, but doesn't look like it. Let's take a look and see what the Gulf countries, some of them who are saying there has to be a Palestinian state before we can talk about normalizing with Israel. Let's take a look. The United States of America secured $600 billion U.S. Saudi investment focuses on defense and artificial intelligence. $600 billion investment in the country, which is funding and protecting the genociders which are carrying out a genocide in the Gaza Strip. These are the Muslim brothers that some people say. I'm not saying that they're not Muslim. I'm not saying that. That is for a scholar to say. But I'm saying how you can invest in them, because the reality of the situation is that if the American economy isn't good, they can't fund the genocide taking place in the Gaza Strip. Let's take a look at something else. Oh, wait a minute. Just for his comfort and his ease, Donald Trump was afforded a McDonald's on wheels. McDonald's on wheels, Saudi Arabia arranged a mobile McDonald's during Trump's visit. Wow, I'd be in a good mood too if somebody had set up a McDonald's for me. The reality of the situation here, brothers and sisters, is as follows. This is not just to be generous to a guest. This is total submission. How you can provide all of this $600 billion investment over 4 years promised to the U.S. economy when they're massacring the Muslims in the Palestinian territories. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't finish. This trip isn't just to Saudi Arabia, it's also to another country. Oh, the United Arab Emirates. Well, the Emiratis can't be outdone, can they? The United Arab Emirates announces a monumental $1.4 trillion investment plan in the U.S. over the next decade, following talks with President Trump. So far, we've got $1.4 trillion coming from the United Arab Emirates, Muslim country, and we've also got $600 billion coming from the Saudis over 4 years. That's $2 trillion just off the bat. And as you can see, doesn't look like anybody there has raised any cases about Gaza. To me, we have not finished yet. Let's take a look and see. Oh, wait a minute. The Qataris can't be outdone either. Trump will receive this week from the Qatari kingdom a plane valued at approximately $400 million, expected to serve him in his role as president, according to ABC. Are you serious? This was a gift of $400 million in the form of a plane. Even Donald Trump said, I would be a fool to turn that down. And he would be, and he is not. He didn't turn it down. $400 million. So we're talking about on the trip, We're talking about $2.4 trillion. Oh, and then after all of that, as he's walking out the door, getting back onto his plane, what will they say? Oh, yes, Mr. Trump, by the way, remember that Gaza thing or whatever? What? You got to go? Okay, we'll talk about it next time. Do you really believe that after being lavishly accepted, all the people laughing and cheering and clapping, that he's going to be listening to anything that's going to be said about Gaza? I certainly don't think so, brothers and sisters. I certainly don't think so. Okay, look, we're going to open this up for the brothers and sisters to send in some questions, comments, or concerns. Let's start to take a look at what you have. Sorry, my computer's just right over here. And let's take a look and see what we've got here. Okay. Let's get started. Oh, we've got Ryan here, and he's watching from Falls Church, Virginia, in the house. Jazakallah khair. I'm glad to have you. All right. Okay, let's take a look and see what's next. Don't you believe that Abu Muhammad is forced to follow this path as the country politically and financially is in a really bad situation after the Assad family destroyed it? Hell no. I can't tell you in any stronger terms than that. Look, we all have bad situations, okay? We do. But you have to weigh it. Depending on what kind of deal may have been cut, we cannot give away our sovereignty, because then we don't have a country anymore. Then what was the whole thing for? Because I will caution you about something. The United States of America and Israel, they're not two entities, they're one. They absolutely, positively cannot have a strong, militarily, economically, socially, strong Syria on Israel's borders. Full stop. Can we agree on that? If we can agree on that, then giving away the country is not going to help to solve our problems. It's going to exacerbate the problems. Now, all we have to do is look towards the Taliban as an example. Do they have less enemies than the Syrians? They don't. Did they fight a strong force like the Syrians did? They fought a stronger one in the US. But at the end of it, they maintained their sovereignty. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you that Abu Muhammad Jolani sold out the country. I'm not going to tell you that because I don't know the details of that. I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say, knowing Donald Trump, that did not come for free. And in addition to that, anything that would include U.S. Special Forces on the ground, sanctioned by the government, is a move that invites the Israelis. Because even if the Israelis are not here, they'll be sharing information, which is exactly what they do. And keep in mind, there was also another rumor which was saying that Jolani offers that U.S. companies would take over the oil and gas sector here in Syria. Again, that's going to invite U.S. mercenaries who are going to share intelligence with the CIA, who will share intelligence with Mossad. That's exactly the way that it works. So there have also been statements about that Jolani wants to have a Trump Tower Damascus in Damascus, which was stated by those who met with him, Jonathan Bass, who helped to broker the meeting that took place between Trump and Ahmed al-Shara. He stated that he told him that Ahmed al-Shara told him that he wanted to have a Trump Tower Damascus. Now, I can't verify the authenticity of that. That's his statement, not mine, but we'll have to wait and see how it's going to pan out. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to continue, but I need your help. I want you to do something for me very briefly. Listen, before we take the next question, I want everybody to please help us out. We are documenting the war crimes that were committed by the Assad family, and we are interviewing people who have had so much hardship. We're talking about people who have been prisoners, people who are family members of prisoners who never came home. Even the people who actually did some of the oppression, we have them also. We need to document this, brothers and sisters, because in a few years, people may just come up and say, oh, Bashar al-Assad was a good idea. Why did those guys mess up the club? All right, we need to make sure that it's documented and available for everybody to watch and see. After having said that, brothers and sisters, we need your financial support. Go to our crowdfunding page. That's medina.com/voices of truth. Medina.com/voices of truth. It's on your screen. Please do visit it. Please, if you can donate $10, $100, whatever you can do, it would be greatly appreciated. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Back to the questions. Okay, let's see what we've got here next. Okay, we've got, okay, let's see. Okay, we've got an addition to that. My point is, politically, is he playing it smart or not? Asking you because you're on the ground and you know the situation there better than anyone. Look, do I think that he's playing it smart? No. I think he's in over his head. I'm being honest with you. I'm giving you my honest opinion. I think that he's in over his head. I don't think that this is a smart play whatsoever, because you're not going to be in a position where you're going to, if it's true, to allow U.S. forces to be inside of Syria, and you're not having American companies without having American mercenaries protecting those companies, which is the exact same thing. I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm saying that this is what's widely rumored, but we have no statement from the new government, so we can only speculate. But I would have to say that no, you can't have U.S. forces inside of Syria, and because it only means that you have Israeli forces. Is anybody willing to say that that would be an equal trade-off? I don't think anybody would think that that would be a good trade-off. And that's exactly how it works, brothers and sisters. I mean, the Trump Tower, Damascus, how we could honor someone who is funding a genocide, massacring, ethnically cleansing our brothers and sisters in Palestine is beyond me. Next. We've got Vroom here who says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. Some say that this is Trump moving away from the Middle East, putting everything out, and Saudi will take over the Middle East along with the GCC. Not necessarily. I don't think that that's necessarily the case, because the Saudis have always been the big economic power in the Middle East. The Emiratis have always tried to do their best to be the number two. And you've got the Qataris there. Now, keep in mind, in Qatar, some people might think that the Qataris are the good guys in the Middle East. And I have to say that they're not as bad as the others. But there is something here that puts them definitely in the running. The biggest U.S. base in the Middle East is in Qatar. So they host the biggest U.S. military base. So where the drones come to kill the people here in Syria who fought Bashar al-Assad, it comes from the Qatari territories, and that's something that you just can't explain away. Next up, we've got Vroom who says, do you think the loyalty of the leaders lies with Islam or protecting their throne? From Holland. Protecting their throne. Did I make that clear? Okay, should I put it in different words? Yes, protecting their throne. I think that it's crystal clear how these leaders are behaving, but there's no accountability to their people. You think Saudis are having elections? You think the Emiratis are having elections? You think the Qataris are having elections? There's no accountability. Anybody that wants to be fresh, raise their voice, they get smacked over the head by the security services, and you may get imprisoned, never heard from again, or imprisoned, and or a lot of different things can happen. But it's not good to be a dissident in these Arab countries. That's the reality of the situation. So we got a lot of work to do, brothers and sisters. Next up, we've got okay, we've got Falcon Eye here. It says, I don't think Trump has realized the richer he becomes, the more he loses the thing he loves most, his stardom. Well, I'd love to agree with you, but the reality of the situation is that I don't think he's lost his stardom. He's the president. Whenever he comes to the Middle East, it's the major story, even though the massacres which are taking place in Gaza should be the major story, but it's not because he's in town. And that's the reality of the situation. But I will say this, I think that his stardom is destroying him. And wait until he gets to the akhirah. We got Ali here who says, big ups, brother Bilal, love your work. Jazakallah khair, jazakallah khair. All right, we've got Ahmed here who says, Salam akhi Bilal, do you see the entire region will normalize after Syria and Saudi with the Israelis? The entire region, no. I don't. I do think that certain countries will, and I think Saudi will be one of them. One of the statements that Donald Trump is said to have said earlier today is that they hope Saudi Arabia signs on to the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords is, it was signed on between Israel and Morocco, Sudan, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. Basically, that implicitly gives legitimacy to the Israelis for the country, or I should say for the land that they stole from the Palestinians, because it recognizes them. That means that they recognize that that land that they have is theirs. So they would like for Saudi to sign on to the Abraham Accords, but that might be problematic. You got to understand there are a lot of religious people in Saudi. They are subjugated right now, but it's still there. And they're doing their best to make sure that things stay bad for the people who yuwahid billah, or who are monotheists. All right, let's see. Let's see what we've got here. All righty. We want to give a shout out to Abdul, Jazakallahu khaira. Muawiyah says, I think the wild card here is Israel. Wild card is usually the unpredictable card. I think Israel is pretty predictable. Netanyahu's made it clear that he wants to have no Syrian troops on the southern border, northern border from his side, southern border in Syria. We're talking about in the Dara area. He got that. The government troops are not there. The Israelis do sometimes daily incursions, sometimes twice a day, in and out of Syria. They set up checkpoints, steal cattle, raid homes, and then make their way right across back into Israeli territory. That's a reality. That's not a rumor. That's what's real. So they have taken over Jebel al-Sheikh, also known as Mount Hermon in English. Now that's 25 kilometers from Damascus. It's the highest point, which gives them the ability to use their spy equipment to see into Lebanon, Syria, and northern Israel. So all of that, I don't think that they're a wild card. I think it's clear what they want to do. And eventually, I believe they're going to make a play for Damascus. Muawiyah says, do you think the people, Mujahideen, will allow Jolani to run wild? I can't answer that question. We have to look and see more of what Jolani's actually doing, because it's not clear. It's just not clear. I wish it was, but it's not. And we hope that it becomes clear, and we ask Allah to guide our leaders. Ameen. Okay. All right, let's take a look and see what we've got here. Muawiyah says, do you think Jolani will do this after Allah granted him the country? His old interviews show he knows what's going on in the region. Absolutely, he knows what's going on in the region. But I can't tell you what Abu Muhammad Jolani is doing, being honest with you, because even these statements, which were purported to have been attributed to him by Mu'adh Mustafa, who is a Syrian American activist based in the United States of America, where he helped to broker the U.S. delegation that came to Syria. He said that Jolani said that he felt that Donald Trump was, quote, God sent a man of peace. I have a real problem with that, but I can't say that Jolani said it because he didn't either confirm it or deny it. We also have other statements about there being a Trump Tower in Damascus. We've got other statements which have been made by people who visited him, but then we never actually had a joint press conference, so therefore we're really not sure. So at this juncture, I can tell you it doesn't look good, but I can't tell you exactly what he's doing because I don't know, and I'm not going to overly speculate that he is doing this and he is doing that because I just don't think that that's the right thing to do. We're going to follow up the facts and then we'll bring them to you, inshallah. All right, we're going to take one more. Let's see. Okay, we've got here Hamza E. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, this is Hamza. You mentioned that you don't buy that Trump is having beef with Netanyahu. Why do you think he is putting on an act? For a simple reason. The supervisors for Trump and the supervisors for Netanyahu are the same ones. Those are the ones that you don't hear about. These are the ones that pull a lot of the strings that are going back and forth. So I believe very strongly that, yeah, do these two probably get along? Are they drinking buddies? I don't think that that makes a difference. But I'm saying is that their politics are in lockstep, because understand something. All of this talk about there being a beef between Netanyahu and Trump, that started mere days before Donald Trump came to the Middle East. Just a couple of days. All the other time, Netanyahu was cool, Netanyahu was my friend, and they're hugging each other, and they had this bromance thing going on. And that's what it's always been until just a few days ago, when less than a week, when it became spoken about, oh, there's a beef between Netanyahu, and he negotiated with the Houthis and he cut the Israelis out. And he negotiated with Hamas and he cut the Israelis out. And it made Netanyahu look bad. These people are on the same page. None of that talk was made before just a couple of days ago. And then when he arrives in the region, you got to understand a $600 billion investment from Saudi Arabia over the course of 4 years. Now, my mother would be a little bit disappointed in my math here. I think, what's that, $150 billion every year. That's not peanuts, $150 billion. And then you've got the Emiratis, who have pledged $1.4 trillion over the course of 10 years. So we're talking about what, $120 billion per year, something along those lines. Sorry, my math is probably not what it should be, but it's something along those lines. So you're talking about from the United Arab Emirates and from the Saudis, you're talking about what are we saying? $1.7 billion. I'm sorry, $170 billion every year. Nope, that's not right. That's $270 billion. My mother would be pretty disappointed in my math. $270 billion from two countries. He didn't even get to Qatar yet, and he already got a $400 million plane for free. All right. Are there any prospects of an upcoming new leader? Currently, no. No. Nor do I think that there's a lot of movement that needs to happen here in this country. And I'm not convinced we're going in the right direction. I'm not convinced. But we'll have to wait and see. Palestine Viva says, did Jolani sell the Ummah to secure his throne? I worry. I worry. And a lot of other people worry also. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he sold his throne, because I can't tell you that. I don't know that. But I can tell you that there's no transparency. We don't know what the heck is going on. Why did Donald Trump lift the sanctions? What had to be given in return? I'm not sure. It's all not clear, brothers and sisters. So we're hoping and praying that it will become clear. And we ask Allah to guide our leaders, ameen, because that is good for the ummah. And we're going to leave it there. Brothers and sisters, before I go, I want to just ask you to do one thing for me again. Do take a look at our crowdfunding page. That's medina.com/voices of truth. We are documenting the crimes which are taking place during the Asad area, and we're giving a voice to people who could never, ever even think of giving currency and telling what happened to them and their family members that were lost. And we're putting them up, translating it on the internet so that everybody can look and see a sea of videos, so no one could come later and then say we're going to whitewash Bashar al-Assad and his crimes. Take a look at it, medina.com/voices of truth. It's on your screen. If you can do $10, $50, $100, anything that you can do, brothers and sisters, we would be ecstatic to have it. I am heading this project. We need your help. My name is Bilal Abdul Kareem for OGN. Jazakum Allah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.